Hello, David Snowpeck here from Snowpeck Games. Welcome to the stream. Let me get my countdown timer thing away here. All right, let me see how many eyeballs. Got a couple of people watching. Of course, all I have is a number next to an eyeball. So if you're watching, please say hi. Let me know who you are, who's watching. If you've got a game dev project you're working on, tell me about it. I'd love to hear about it. Because otherwise, I don't know. I feel like I'm just talking to an empty room. So please say hi. I usually like to start these streams playtesting a little bit of my game Retro Tank Party. Let me get rid of that link at the bottom of the screen because we're not going to be using that bit.ly link this time. We'll get rid of the devel link. And that should be good. All right. So today, I would like to playtest the released version of the game, which you can get by going to itch.io. I will put the link in the chat in a moment. I'm going to play the web version of the game. You are certainly welcome to download one of the builds. It's pay what you want. You could want to pay nothing and just get the game for free. That's totally fine with me. I don't mind. Or if you have the Steam version of the game, that should be cross-play with the itch.io web version as well. So let me just grab a match code. I'm going to put the link to the itch page in chat. Ooh, okay, hang on. Wow, that was too much there. All right, sorry. I haven't played the itch version in a while, and the settings are saved differently because it's dependent on the URL that you visit. So, all right, that was loud. Hey, Ricardo, thanks for coming. I'm going to drop this link in the chat, and I'll put a match ID there too that you can use to join the match. Oh man, it's been a while since I played the itch.io version. I actually have to log in. See if I can remember my password. Yeah, there we go. Make a private match. Copy this ID. Why did that not copy? Is it because I'm using Firefox? No, I'm using Chrome. Copy. What is happening right now? Usually I have no problems with copy and paste in Chrome, but I am this time. Wow. Maybe I won't be playing the web version. There is some bug with Godot and copying pasting in HTML5 in Firefox, but I'm using Chrome. Let's just try Firefox. Maybe I have this backwards. Maybe I'm remembering the other way around. Seriously? You need to restart Firefox while I'm in the middle of a stream? Or I have all these windows open in Firefox? Watching the chat and everything? Well, that's not going to happen. I guess I'll download it. I'll download it and play the release version. I am not going to pay myself. I already paid for this with my time. Whoa. Okay. No thanks. Just take me to the links. I am on Linux. So this also serves as a tutorial for, you know, if you want to download the game. Oh, geez. Retro Tank Party, I think it's Linux stable. Stable zip. What's in it? It's just the things. Let's make a quick little directory. Okay, I already have that directory. This is how you know that I am definitely a professional streamer. The fact, yeah, that I have to, no, I'm not a professional streamer. All right. Replace? Yeah, just replace everything. Go for it. I said all. Capital A? All? All right. Retro Tank Party. Okay, and is this going to blast my ears out again? I hope not. We do get to see the intro, which you don't get to see in the web version. Hey Ross, good morning to you as well. We are going to do a little bit of playtesting as soon as I manage to log in and put out a match ID. And then while I'm waiting for people to join, I will talk through what we're going to be doing today. So, all right, I just sent out the match ID into all of the streaming services. So, grab the game. Web version should work, assuming copy and paste works for you. It's always worked for me in Chrome, so try Chrome first. Otherwise, feel free to download the build and pay nothing on itch. I don't care. It's fine. We're here for the learning. We're here for learning about Godot. And I'll wait for people to get in there. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to talk really quickly about what we are going to be doing. Where did my drawing go? Sorry to subject everyone to the same drawing every time. I will do it very, very shortly today because we are not dealing in theory so much as we are in getting things done. I don't want to spend too much time talking. I want to make the new version of the game playable. So we are changing the network synchronization method used by Retro Tank Party from its current naive method to rollback and prediction. Rollback and prediction works like this. You have two players who are playing. They start playing the game. They do the first frame, second frame, third frame. We're going to imagine a 2-frame delay between the two peers. So peer 1, player 1 is pressing right on the first 3 frames. On peer 2, that peer is pressing left on the first 3 frames. Of course, they don't know what the other is doing because the information hasn't gotten to them yet because there's this 2-frame lag. So we'll say player 2's left key press finally arrives when player 1's client gets to frame 3, which with rollback and prediction, what we do is we inject this frame 1 left back into frame 1. We essentially roll the game state back to frame 1, inject this input, and then resimulate the game forward, predicting what those inputs would be. The prediction is very simple. We just assume they're pressing the same thing they were before, and then we put a left in here. Of course, this rollback and roll forward happens within the span of a single frame, so the player never notices, and they just see their second player tank jumped to the position that they would be at if they had been pressing left for the first 3 frames. That is rollback and prediction. So, for the last bunch of streams, we have been working on taking this new synchronization method, applying it to Retro Tank Party. We are really close to having something actually playable, and I really want to be able to play it with you guys on stream, so that is our goal for today. Let's see if anyone has joined the game. Ooh, okay, we've got Ross connecting, and Tankslot who's connected. Oh, you can play the Steam version, Elliot. We're playing the released version, so it will be compatible with the Steam version. So if you want to load up Steam, go for it. You should be able to connect. Ross, I don't know what's going on with it's still saying connecting. On your end, do you still see connecting, or does it say connected for you? Yeah. So connecting, the sign that usually means that it's having trouble making the WebRTC connection. Something you could try if it's also showing just connecting on your end is going into settings and switching the relay mode to forced, or if it's unforced, switching it back to auto to see if that helps the WebRTC connection get formed. I'm assuming because Elliot's asking about which version, he's going to jump in here. Yeah, Elliot, you're going to play? So we'll wait a little bit more for Elliot. Oh, you see connected and connecting for everyone else. Yeah, so that it sounds like for whatever reason it's not forming the WebRTC connections for you, Ross. Yeah, try switching that network relay setting and see if that makes a difference. Since we're still waiting for Elliot and possibly Ross, if he can work around the problems that he has, I'm going to talk about what I've done since the last stream. So on the last stream, we were actually hacking on Godot. We were modifying the source code for the Godot engine because there was a problem. So if we go back to our diagram here, when we were rolling back to the first frame and then rolling forward again, we had no way to tell the Godot physics server to do another physics step when we were rolling these frames back forward. The way Godot is set up is that you run your physics process function, and then after all the physics process functions happen, Godot will automatically do a physics step in the physics engine, but we needed to force multiple physics steps to happen within a single normal physics step. And there was no way to do that. It was manifesting itself as this problem here, where we were shooting the tree, and the explosion was happening 5 frames before the tree. That's because we were running it with this mode where every frame it would roll back 5 frames just so we could see what would break when we were doing rollbacks. And then after adding this method, it now explodes in the right place. For those who were watching last stream, we did not manage to get the right code for that method during the stream, but the next day, I think it was the next day, I managed to get it working. We were super duper close. It was like I needed to move the order of like 2 of these methods or something. I don't remember exactly anymore, but I now have it working. I made a PR to the Godot engine, which I don't expect to be committed, but my hope is that we will influence the way the physics engine API is in Godot 4. That Godot 4 will give us some sort of API to do this exact thing that we need to do. So let me go check to see if anybody else has been able to get in. Where did I put my retro tank party? Oh, I made it full screen. So it's over here. Huh. Ross is still not getting in. And we have someone new. Scarvia. I don't know how you want to pronounce your name. But yeah, we're like stuck, man. Like, I can't say I'm ready because like it still says you're connecting, but it also says you've left. Tank slot connecting, Scarvia is running, as me is connected. Interesting. Yeah, I think we'll have to roll without you, Ross, probably. Elliot, you gonna try and get in? If not, we could just do a quick match with just Tankslot and Scarvy. Yeah, sorry, Ross. I don't know what's going on there. Since it's the release version of the game, that's like not good. That you're not able to get connected with the turn servers we have, and you know, the being able to turn on and off the network relay. Like, this should work. Maybe sometime after the stream, you and I can get together and try and figure that out, because that's really weird. Hey, Ryan. Wow, interesting to see some Drupal crossover going on here. Elliot's saying it won't let him join? Well, maybe because Ross was still in there when you were trying to join, Elliot. Just like try it real quick one more time now that like Ross is totally out. If not, if it still doesn't let you get in, we'll just do it. Oh, here we go. Elliot's in. Bam! Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do just a short battle royale. We don't want to spend too much time playing. We want to get to hacking. We want to play the broken ass version of the game that we're going to be working on. All right. Let me go see. Who do I got? Who am I going to kill? Here we go. There's Ricardo. Ah! Since I know Ryan's never played before, I'll try and take him out. Ah, noob. Whoa! Here comes Elliot. Need some power-ups. Here we go. Power up. Ah, just health. Better than nothing. Here we... Ah! There we go. That's some bad turning going on there. No one can withstand the power of my spread. We should have done desert. There's more power-ups in desert. Well, whatever. I'll leave that spread for someone else just to make it interesting. I could have taken it. Oh, Elliot didn't even live long enough to use it. Ah! All right. Can't even see me coming. Oh, man. I'm not hitting you. There we go. Whew. The developer won. What a surprise. I probably shouldn't play. I probably should... Well, I want to add a spectator mode, actually, and then I could just, like, have other people play and I could watch and still stream it. But... Yerp. Okay. Taking too many hits. Taking too many hits. Need to get out of the hot zone there. Alright. Ooh. Whew. Trying to use my boost to corner Ryan here. Elliot, where even are you? Oh, there you are. Good move for good plan for Battle Royale, hiding in the corner. Let everyone else kill each other. I was playing too risky that time. Battle Royale, you gotta play cautious. I was playing... Ooh, let's see. Ryan, first-time player. Let's see if he can take Elliot out. He's got the spread, but Elliot's got the experience. Oop. Elliot's got a little bit of network lag going there, too, I can see. Get in there and get that power up, Elliot. You need it. Oh! Come on, man! Yeah, okay, having boost and spread, Ryan, you gotta use that. It's right-click to use your boost, in case you didn't know that, which probably you didn't. You can boost right up close to him and then just, like, take him out. I don't know why I'm giving you advice, because for some reason I was rooting for Elliot, and then I switched to rooting for you. All right, let's do this. Taking too many risks. Okay. Whoa! Okay, so did you guys see how suddenly Ryan's tank emitted like a bajillion bullets? So that is an artifact of our super naive synchronization method with rollback networking. That would not happen. You would not suddenly get like a bunch of lag and then a million bullets raining out of nowhere. So that's one of many things that I hope to work better once we get the rollback network synchronization implemented. Yeah! Okay, sorry. My family is wondering why I'm screaming, I'm sure. Hopefully they can't hear me. Okay, guys. Tank slots following me. It's a bad move. Don't follow anyone. Following is bad. Whoa! See, did you guys see that burst of bullets again? We are getting some serious network lag today from multiple people. I'm still winning, though. Whoa! How did I win when you're not even dead? What happened there? Wow. Well, a good playtesting session should find bugs, but that is not a bug I've ever seen. Wow, okay, I'm writing this down. That was crazy. So Ryan was still alive, but the match ended. Man, wow, how are we going to reproduce that one? Out of curiosity, Ryan, like what version are you playing? Are you playing the web version or the download? Yeah, it didn't make any sense, man. You were running around and suddenly I was the winner. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Something broke there. I feel like we should do another quick game because weird stuff is happening there. But match ended. Let me just finish writing my note here. Ryan's still alive, but match ended. That is going on the Trello board, man. All right, let's do one more quick match. We'll do a death match, just 2 minutes. That way we know it's limited to 2 minutes before we get down to hacking. It looks like Ryan and me versus Ricardo and Elliot. Let's do this. We'll go to desert, so it's a little more chaotic. Oh, Ryan, you're playing the Steam version? Thanks for getting the Steam version, man. Please leave me a positive review when you have a chance. I have only positive reviews that don't count because they're from people that I gave keys to, and then that doesn't get included in the Steam score or count towards Steam's algorithm. So I'd really like to get some positive reviews that actually count towards my review score. Oh, health, whatever. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so where are the blues? Where's this blue team? Okay, here we go. I got a blue team to go after. I'm invisible. Just taking you out. Bullets from nowhere. Bullets from nowhere! Oh, okay. I'm just going to be invisible this whole time. That's my plan. No one will see me the whole match. Oof, we took out Elliot. Thanks a lot. Gotta remember I have boost. I frequently forget I have boost. Alright, Ricardo. Whoop, getting out of there. Alright, I remembered. It was a good time to use it. Ooh, I'm not taking that boost. I want to keep my, yeah. Well, we're winning, Ryan, so we just gotta keep them from killing us. And keep us from accidentally killing ourselves. Ooh, that was a good use to boost, Ricardo. Oh, I should have zapped. I should have zapped. Haha. Revenge. My teammate has avenged me. Okay. We're gonna win. We're totally gonna win. We have 20 seconds. We just have to not screw up really bad right at the end here. What can I get? What can I get? Zap! I'll just zap because I like it. Because zapping is fun. Can't get me. I'm just zapping all day. Couple of little extra wins at the end. Red team wins. All right. Nothing weird happened that time. Man, I don't know. I don't know what could have gone wrong there. I will be digging through the code. Although, honestly, we're rewriting everything with this new network synchronization technique. So I would like to fix that bug. I would like to understand that bug. But in the end, it might not matter if the next version of the game has totally new network code that would be handling that situation differently. Anyway, thanks guys for playing. That was a good bunch of matches. Elliot says, this game sucks. Everything weird happened. It's the worst game ever. Yeah, that might be true, but sometimes it's fun. And I had fun. I bet you had fun too, Elliot. You're just cranky because you lost. All right, so let me go back to my list of things I wanted to chat about. So yeah, before we move on from this physics thing that I was talking about, so wanting to get this API added to Godot 4, if this is also important to you, if having the ability to do rollback and prediction network synchronization in Godot going forward is important to you, please go to this issue on GitHub and give a thumbs up to the proposal as a whole. It has 5 thumbs up. This will, if it's a higher number, it will get more attention of the Godot maintainers. Somehow I managed, and probably this is my fault, to get 9 thumbs ups on my comment. Which was my fault, I think, because when I was sending this link out to people saying, hey, I just did this, go upvote this proposal, I was sending the link to my comment. But I would love for those 9 thumbs up to be up here. So let me put this issue down into the chat. And yeah, if this is something that's important to you, which I hope it is because you're watching this stream, log into your GitHub account, visit that issue, give it some thumbs. We need some thumbs. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah. Get back to work, man. There's Drupal commerce to be made. All right. So, yeah. We are actually going to be playing the game through the web version when we're testing what we're working on today. I found this cool hack in GitLab CI where we can actually like make an environment to play like the artifacts from any build. Which is cool. I'd already had set up in GitLab CI a way that would push to GitLab pages, but I have the develop branch set up to push to GitLab pages, and I don't want to put this code in the develop branch because if this ends up not working like as a good network synchronization strategy for this game, we're like never going to merge it. But that's the thing. That's what I want to answer. I want to get the game playable. I want to see if it plays well enough, like well enough in the sense not of bugs, but of like rubber banding and maintaining sync and all of that. And if it does, then we'll keep pursuing this. If it doesn't, we'll have to see why it doesn't and fix that. And then if we can't fix it, we're just going to scrap the whole rollback and prediction thing for Retro Tank Party. So that's why we're trying to get it playable. That's what we're going to do. Let's get down to it. Let's not waste any more time. So where to start? Oh, and I should have mentioned the reason that we're using the web version is because we're using a patch version of Godot, and I didn't want to like compile it for all the platforms because I'm lazy. So we're going to use the web version. I only made like a custom set of export templates for the web version. All right. So let's just check out where we're at. Let's see what's working, what's not working in the current code. What did I change the to-do? Oh, okay, cool. In the current code for our rollback branch, and notice how I'm starting up the client with Godot-rollback because I'm using the special Godot build, not the normal Godot build. Let's I have to retype my password because I'm using a different Nakama server where I have a different password. Come on. Is that it? Is that the password? Seriously? What is happening presently? Am I running the Nakama that I think I'm running? Let me just go check on my Nakama. Docker compose ps. This is the right Nakama. It's running. That is in fact my mailing or my email address. There we go. Typo. We'll just use the matchmaker because it's easy. Let me actually close this and reopen it because then it will have my password saved. And I don't have to typo a million times again. Ooh, there's a problem. It should be listing 2 names there instead of 1 name. So that's an interesting bug in our rollback branch. But all right. So if you can hear that actually. Can you hear that? It's like, we still have the thing enabled where it's doing 5 frames of rollback every single frame. And so the reason we're hearing the drrr is because we're hearing the sound happen 5 times for the 5 frames that's rolling back. So I can come up here, I can shoot him. Whoa! And also, of course, it hit him with 5 bullets. So we have a problem there. Let's start a little list here. I'll just open up a Vim to do a buffer. So we're not going to worry about the sound. Who cares? We just want to see if the game's playable. But we'll say state rollback for the player health. That is not happening because we saw them take the damage of 5 bullets worth. And when we are exploding, we are hitting a problem here because we are not using the spawn manager. So that's the spawn manager that we built a couple streams ago. What happened there? My computer is unhappy, very unhappy. Hope the stream's still working. Oh no! Oh no! Come on. Can I please escape? Are you guys seeing me? Oh, here we go. Okay, okay. We're gonna kill things. Killing things. Whew. Am I still streaming? Are you guys still seeing me? Let me get on my phone. Am I stuck or am I going? Jeez. Sorry guys. Something with like having that being paused in the debugger. Totally like stalled my computer. I don't know if the stream is still working. OBS is still running. Are you guys seeing me in YouTube though, and Facebook and all the places? I'm just gonna quick check on YouTube if someone can tell me in the chat. Yeah, okay, it froze for a minute. I hope it wasn't a long minute. Oh, there we go. Okay, so YouTube is working. I hope Facebook is working. All right. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So the other thing we need to deal with is tank explosion with spawn manager. Sweet. Thanks, Elliot and Ross, for letting me know that it's working. I don't know if anyone's watching on Facebook anymore. Ryan might have been the only one. If you could let me know if it's still streaming on Facebook, that way I don't have to check on my phone, which I'm not going to do, because whatever. Not that many people usually watch on Facebook, or Twitch for that matter. So let's start with this, because this should be easy. We need to spawn the explosion with the spawn manager that we built a little bit ago. And let me remember how to do that. It's been a little while. Let's go to base bullet, where we're doing the explosion for the bullets, and we have to do something like this. Let's grab that, go back to the tank script. All right, so global position, that is correct. Scale should be 1.5, and type should be fire. All right, and that should be everything that we need to do for the explosion to spawn correctly. We're not currently spawning the tanks correctly, so the spawn manager handles the problem where we have to roll back to a state where a now deleted object exists, or we have to roll past, or what is the other state? We're rolling back to where it exists, or we're rolling back to before it exists. Yes. So the spawn manager handles that. The tank isn't using it for spawning. We might not actually be able to use the spawn manager. The tanks might be too complicated, but we'll try using the spawn manager first. All right, so tanks, we need to integrate them into, oh, they are kind of partially integrated into the rollback stuff because we have save state, load state. We are just not saving and loading the health. Health lives here? Okay. So health and dead are things we probably want to roll back. Is there anything else here that seems like things we would want to roll back? I guess the weapon type, ability type, if we rolled back to before you picked up a particular weapon power-up, we'd want to switch to the old power-up. Weapons, as far as I know, don't have state. We might need to do something with the actual weapon node. But we definitely want the weapon type. So we'll start there. We'll see when things break, if they break, how they break, and then fix that. So we probably want weapon state, ability type, last ability will need to be restored to... Oof, this is going to get complicated, guys. So last ability is important because that's what allows you to be invisible, pick up boost, and have boost be listed as your current ability. Because last ability will still be your invisibility, which will still exist and be applying invisibility to you, but you will have a different ability like on you to use. Interesting. Okay, so let's not worry about abilities because that's complicated. we'll punt all the complicated stuff for later. We just want to play it. We just want to play it and see if it works well enough. So health needs to get saved in the state. Health needs to get restored. Weapon type needs to get saved in the state. We cannot store the actual resource. We need to store the resource path. That is because we are sending the state to the host as a debugging thing, just for the host to check that that the state matches. Hang on, I started slowing down because my brain started multitasking. The health, we can't just set it. We actually have to trigger whatever update stuff happens to change the display of health too. So do we have a method for that? Do we have like a set health method or something? What do we got? Restore health, take damage, update health. Okay, we probably want to trigger this update health RPC. No, we don't want to trigger any RPCs. All these RPCs are old business. Those are things that we did with the old network synchronization technique. Here we would want to just directly call these things. Die event attacker ID and update health. Probably should search for RPCs in here. Oh, thanks, Elliot, for checking on the Facebook stream. That's awesome that that's still running. Again, I see a bunch of new eyeballs in my little eyeball counter here. If you're watching the stream, please say hi. I don't know who's there unless people say hi in the chat. Let me know what you're working on, what game project you've got going, if you've got one going. Yeah, we need to get rid of this RPC. Update health. So update health seems like the thing we want to do. Yeah, update health totally is. Update Heath. There we go. Health. Let's just search for RPCs because we know we don't want any RPCs to happen. Okay, cool. That must have been the last one. Hey, Andy K! Thanks for joining. You missed our earlier playtesting of the supposedly stable version of the game. We found a bunch of bugs, but you will be able to help test the version we're working on here again, and we'll be able to confirm for sure if I fixed that movement issue that you were having last time. All right, so we got rid of the RPCs. We need to go back to my load state. We need to not just set the variable, but do update health to make sure that the UI gets updated as well. And weapon type, we need to do set weapon type again, because that will trigger all of the things that need triggering. State, ooh, and we need to load it because we just got off the path. So state weapon type, that should work. All right, we're taking the resource path, we are loading it, setting the weapon type. That should cover those bits of state. We're going to not worry about abilities, like I said. Invincible is kind of like a debug flag. We don't need to worry about that. All of these movement things, these will get updated by input anyway, I think. So we won't have to touch those. Oh man, handling the rumble is going to be interesting. How are we going to prevent just like extra rumble happening when we roll back? Although maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe no one will notice that occasionally there's extra rumble. We'll see. Okay, so that might be enough to deal with the health issue. Let's go shoot each other and see if we lose the appropriate amount of health or 5 times as much health. And we'll see if the tank explosions work. And hopefully that won't freeze the stream this time. What is my load? My load is 2... Yeah, thanks so much for your help, Andy K. It's very much appreciated that folks come and help test on the stream. All right. Okay, so we can see in the top client, no health has been lost. In the bottom client, we are recording the appropriate amount of health, so we're good there. I think I know what's happening here. In the old synchronization method, what we had was the client that owned a particular player was responsible for... yeah, and we're getting this now because we don't have the spawn manager. It's not correctly destroying and recreating the tanks. Anyway, on the old network synchronization method, we had the client of a particular player was recording their health changes and then sending it out to the other players. And so somewhere in here, we must be saying, don't record damage unless you own this tank. And we need to get rid of that code. So it's probably in that take damage method. We've got our hook system going here. If player controlled, there we go. So if player controlled, oh, that's just for the screen shake. Okay, cool. If network master, all right, that is the line. So we're saying if the current client is the network master of this particular node, then we do this. But we need to have it happen always. So we got rid of that, and now we just don't do it if we're invisible. Let's try again. See that health will come off on both tanks. All right. I should be using maze or something so like the characters start near each other, the players start near each other. I don't have to drive so far. Hey, there we go. Awesome. So we're doing those 5 debug frames of rollback, which means the tank is in fact getting hit 5 times. We just can't see it, but it's only causing 1 hit's worth of damage. Beautiful. All right, and now we want to explode a tank, which I think will still crash because the spawn manager for the tank thing, but let's try it. Yep, still crashed, but a different crash, a new crash. Or new compared to the thing we fixed. So the thing we fixed with the explosion spawning, that should be good. But we now need to worry about the tank spawning. So tanks are spawned in game. Let's go look at the game script. Alphabetical order is too hard for my brain. All right. And the code for spawning tanks in game is actually kind of complicated. I don't think it needs to be as complicated as it is. It's just, you know, this code has existed for a long time and gotten kind of like hacked together as new things needed to happen and maybe not fixed up, refactored as much as it should have been. Oh, we need coffee for this. We need coffee to deal with this code. Okay, so game setup happens. Oh, this is interesting too. We have the network masters deciding what pickups are going to be put in the crates, which it will still need to do in the new method, but it may have to do it differently. Actually, what would be really an interesting method of doing this is if the network master decided at the beginning of the match what all of the power-ups were going to be. So it was deterministic on the other end, like when a new box, a new crate got opened, what the power-up would be, and if it just picked like 500 or something. I don't know if that's a good way to do it. A more efficient way, I guess, would be to pick like a random seed and then have all of the clients use the same random seed and use this seed only for the crates. That actually is probably the right way to do it because we're not transmitting over the wire 500 power-ups to come. We're just transmitting this seed, and we can have a specific random number generator from Godot that we instantiate that just gets our seed. So anything else wouldn't mess with the seed. All right, so respawn player, I believe, is where we are actually creating the tanks. Yep. Okay. So can we do this with Spawn Manager? Hey, Vlad, 79X, thanks for joining us. All right, let's try with the Spawn Manager first. I believe, no, we need to do Sync Manager because we're sort of hiding the Spawn Manager. Spawn, we're spawning the tank scene, and what are the rest of the arguments? the parent, or no, the scene isn't even the first thing. So name comes first, the parent, the scene, the data, and whether we want to rename. So in all of the cases, we do want to rename. In this case, we don't, because we want the tanks to have a consistent name. Only one of them ever exists, so renaming should never be a problem. All right, so let's jump back to where we were. We were in the tank script. Ooh, they're right next to each other. That's very convenient. Oh no, not the tank script. We're in the game script, which is not convenient, not next to it. Okay, so the first thing we need is the name, which we do a string of the peer ID. And was it parent first? It might have been parent first. Players node scene. Then we're going to pass in some data, which we haven't put together yet, right? I think. And we're going to rename false. Let me double check those arguments. Name, parent, scene, data, rename. Perfect. I got it. I'm good. I need to reduce the number of scripts in here so it's easier to jump back and forth. All right. So we are going to want to pass some arguments in here that the spawn manager will request that the tank use for its setup rather than the game being responsible for all of this stuff. So a start transform, that is something that we'll pass in. I guess, yeah, let's build this data not in here. So like spawn data, var spawn data. This way we can have different conditions affect how it's constructed. And we know that we want to do this thing here. And rather than setting it straight on the tank, we're going to put this in the spawn data. And we're not going to call it global transform. We're going to call it start transform. And we'll have a method that gets called by the spawn manager to actually do the setting of this. We'll see that in a moment. Just bear with me while I kind of get all of this data shuffled around. The tank class itself will be responsible for actually putting the data that we're passing in this data dictionary onto itself, because that's how the spawn manager works. It looks for a particular like special setup method that then gets called. Okay, so this will all get handled by the spawn manager. We need to get the tank object in the end, which the spawn manager will give us. And this setup tank, that's going to need to be moved to a different place also. But we know that we want to pass in the game object, apparently. That's going to get a little weird. And the player. So let's just do this and we'll see how weird it gets. So game equals self. And player equals player. That's always going in spawn data. We'll get rid of that. We need to still connect this player dead signal and still emit the player spawn signal. Okay, so on this end, this may be enough to use the spawn manager. Now we need to go to the other end, to the tank end, and have it move some stuff from this old setup tank method to the method that the spawn manager is going to call to set it up. Let's find setup tank. Okay. So what is that method called? I always forget when I name my own APIs. I need to write documentation for myself. So that would be in spawn manager. Where the heck is spawn? Oh, here we go. Spawn manager. And we call it network spawn preprocess, which we are going to need to use to preprocess the data before we then call network spawn. And the reason we have this preprocess thing is because we can only store things in spawn data that can't get destroyed later. So like if we were to store a tank node instance in spawn data and then it got destroyed and then we needed to roll back to a place where we needed to use it again and now it's destroyed, that wouldn't work. So we have to make sure we only store things that can be reconstituted, and that's what the spawn preprocess does, is it takes these kind of ephemeral things, if there are ephemeral things in the data, and turns them into more permanent things, which I think we're going to need to use. So we're going to do both of these. We're going to do network spawn preprocess on our data dictionary, which I believe returns another dictionary. And we'll just say return data for now so that it's valid. I don't know what we're going to put in there yet. Network spawn data dictionary. I think void. I think it's void. It shouldn't have to return anything. Yeah, so this one returns data. This one is void. Perfect. We'll come over here. What is passed in is the player and the game object. You know, it might be safe to keep game because game is never destroyed. But this also becomes part of the state that gets saved for us doing rollbacks. And like I said earlier, we're sending that to the host and we can't send a game object over the wire. So maybe what we've got to do then is actually store the path to the game in the scene tree. So to do that, we will do game, the game, we will actually get the game's, talking and coding trips me up every time. All right, we'll get its path and we're going to convert it to a string for ease of going over the wire. And the player, we also don't necessarily want to depend on the player object existing because this is a case that you might not think you have to account for, but you totally do. What if a player leaves the game, is no longer in the game, and then we have to roll back to a state where they were still in the game? We still have to respawn their tank because what if their tank was blocking a shot, right? We still have to be able to respawn it even if the player has totally disconnected from the match. So we need to also take its data. We can't depend on the object still existing. So we need player index is what we need. I'm basically looking at this method and saying, like, what do we need from here to then move it to network spawn and how do we need to do it? So I'm seeing that player index is being used. So I'm grabbing player index here. Oop, and we need to actually grab player off of this dictionary. Player index. And it looks like we also need the peer ID and the name. So player, or we'll just say peer ID. Player peer ID and player name. Oh, and team. If this is a team match. So team equals player team. All right, so this is all the data that is on potentially ephemeral objects that we need to grab off of data. So now that's the data that's going to get passed into network spawn here. And then we need to do basically everything we are doing here, but in network spawn and a little bit differently because we changed how everything works. So we converted game into a path. So not get name, get node on, come on. I don't know why I type so terribly on stream. Like, you'll have to trust me on this, but I don't normally type this terrible. It's like the stress of being watched makes me type badly. I don't know. All right, so we got the game object, player index. That's going to come off of data player index where we just put it. Peer ID is going to come off of data peer ID. Player name is coming off of data player name. Tank color, setting player index. And team. So if the team does not equal -1, data team. Okay. So now we will get rid of setup tank. That's no longer a thing. I'm just going to look at the code here really quick, try and give it kind of like a once over, see if I did anything stupid. Feel free to tell me if you see that I did something stupid on the stream. And let's try and run this. Let's see if we can now destroy a tank and have it respawn. That is the bar of success. I'm going to do the matchmaker just to mix things up. Because also I think there was a bug in the matchmaker. Yeah, like it's not putting one of the players. So let me add that to the list here. Matchmaker not listing all players. Okay. I'm ready. We're all ready. Battle Royale. Ah, we already crashed. Okay, what did we do wrong? Player index. Oh, you know what? I bet it's just index. Let's look at the player object. Oh, I get out of distraction free mode so we can actually see it. Yep, it's not called player underscore index. It's just called index. I should have paid more attention to the autocomplete there. Or, yeah, it probably doesn't give autocomplete because I'm not assigning a type to this. So where does this come from? This player comes from online match player, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. Whatever. We know that this is what it is. So let's just roll with it. Matchmaker. I'm gonna do maze, so we're right next to each other. What? Well, we would be next to each other if we spawned. We didn't spawn right. Okay, so what went wrong there? Let's go back to game. And sort of start from the beginning here. Oh, so I remember now. In game, we had set that start transform to data, and we haven't done anything with it. So, we need to set that to global transform equals data start transform. Okay, let me just take a look at game again and see if there's anything else that we forgot. Yeah, so this start transform, that looks like the only thing we forgot. All right. Let us try again. If this works, this might actually be enough to test it, like with you guys. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what crashes and what doesn't crash. Nope. What's going wrong here? So spawn data, we're setting start transform. That's getting passed in here. Just stop this. I'm paranoid that it's gonna like crash the stream again. And we get the data up in tank. Network spawn preprocess, network spawn, data transform. Nothing's crashing here, so it must be getting valid data or not being called. I guess let's just, we'll set a breakpoint. We'll make sure this is even being called. Then we'll kind of walk through it and see what's going on. Oh, actually, I think practice could test this too. Practice can test this too. All right. Let's actually, let's just see what happens in practice mode. Huh. It spawns correctly in practice mode, but doesn't spawn correctly in real network mode. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll go back to what we were about to try, which is setting a breakpoint, which is good that we saw the breakpoint happen when it was in practice, because that should theoretically mean that this will also happen when we are running in network mode. Quit this out. Oh, I shouldn't have done matchmaker because now I don't know who the host is. It'll just be randomly picked. I guess it's this guy down here is the host. Okay, yeah, Battle Royale. Just go to Battlefield. So this one is the host. It seems to have spawned in the correct position. Data. What if this is just going to work? Start transform has some data on it. It's going to crash because it's going to lose synchronization. Because I took too long, you know? Oh, yeah, synchronization lost. Okay, I'm going to try that again. We'll make this person be the host. There are no breakpoints, so create, copy, join, paste. Just see if it works. Ah, we spawned both tanks in the same spot. It thinks we're both the same tank. And interestingly too, like we're not not, the camera's not set up right either. Interesting. What the heck is happening? All right, let's take a look. So how is the camera supposed to be created? I believe that it is game that does that. So let's go look at game. I'm also like really surprised too why this would be any different. but we'll find out. We'll get to the bottom of it. Okay, so the camera. Make player controlled sets up the camera. How does make player controlled happen? Oh, that's like in the match stuff. But it happened before, like it was happening. Okay, let's see. I might look at our at a git diff here and just see what is the code that we've changed and the old code to try and kind of see if there's anything obviously different. So start transform. We seem to be creating like the wrong player too. Like it seems to think that both are player 1. How could that happen? Player index equals player index. Player.index. We're still passing in the same player, right? Because this player is this player. Player.index -1. No, that's happening, right? That's fine. I look at the old setup tank. It had game equals. Our new one has game equals. We had player index equals player index. We have player index. Set network master. Peer ID that comes from player. Peer ID, which matches the old one. Name. Team. Oh, what if it doesn't think we're the same player, but it's just not putting the camera in the right place? So we're just looking at player 1 doing his thing. Let me actually, here, I will test does it think we're player 1 by doing input in both windows and seeing what happens. If one of them does nothing, we can believe that it is getting the input correct, but we're just not looking where we're supposed to be looking, and that the only problem here is the camera. Which would be nice. Just fixing what's going wrong with the camera. Oh, yep, okay. So it's just the camera. All that's broken right now is the camera. All right. I pressed in the other window and nothing happened. So let's again look at our diff and see if I did something that should have affected the camera. I don't think so. Like, it really just doesn't look like it. We are spawning. Is there anything in tank setup that we missed? No. Is there anything in player respawn? No, we're emitting player spawned. All right, well, let's find out what is supposed to be calling this make player controlled function, which is what sets up the player camera. I believe the match is supposed to call that. We have these different match classes and scenes for the different game modes. But I think there's like a base class. Because we're doing Battle Royale, we'll start with the Battle Royale match manager here. Just to make sure it's not doing it custom. So make player controlled, nope. All right, so we'll go to match setup. Interesting. Setup players. Creates the player, like objects. What the heck is calling make player controlled? All right, let's get out a good old-fashioned grep here. Make player controlled. So the deathmatch manager appears to call it directly. We're not doing a deathmatch. Football for the football mode, and then game, I guess, does it. Okay, did I just not see it when we were in game? Make player controlled. So game setup calls respawn player. And it is calling make player controlled. I wonder if it's like calling it with the wrong Like it's the IDs are set up wrong or something? If the IDs are set up wrong, we would see that in the debugger when we inspect the scene tree, like inspect the live scene tree. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to run it again, get to that broken state. We're going to look at the remote scene tree and see what the names of the nodes are. All right. So we'll get out of distraction-free mode here. Rollback. Make us a matchmaker. Okay. So yeah, I'm guessing the nodes aren't named what they're supposed to be named. So here is the scene tree in the running game. I go into match, game, players, 11 and 21. That ain't right. This should be 1 and 2. It should be 1 and 2. So it looks like there's a bug in the spawn manager. I bet I've never tested the mode where we ask the spawn manager not to rename. So spawn manager, where are you at? Here we go, spawn manager. We'll kill this and look for rename true. Do we actually do anything with that rename? We do something with the rename. If rename node, which would append a 1 to it. But we set this to false, right? Or did I screw that up somewhere? Let's go back to game and see if I've actually passed in the right value. Game, respawn player. Spawn manager, we are sending false. We are setting that to false. So what is happening? Let's go back to the spawn manager. We'll set a breakpoint there, and we will keep an eye out for spawn manager. All right, we keep an eye out for what's going on here. So there is also a possibility that Godot is renaming the node for us, although it usually does it by putting like @ symbols in there before the incrementing integer. Shows I don't know why it would do it, but we will set a breakpoint. We'll see exactly what's happening. So bam, bam. Let's do it. Come on. And we hit our breakpoint. And let's hope the stream doesn't somehow get locked like it did last time when I was debugging. Is it locked? Am I in motion? I seem to still be in motion. Okay. So let's look at our variables. We came from spawn, which came from respawn player. That all seems right. Rename. Where's that in our list of variables here? Data. Why don't I see rename? Name, parent, scene, data. Rename. There it is. Rename is on. I didn't tell you to rename. Why are you renaming? Okay, so we had this method on sync manager that was basically just delegating to spawn manager, and I forgot to pass the variable in this little delegation thing here. Okay, it's just nice because like spawn manager has exactly one method that we want to call to just kind of hide it on the sync manager, so we don't have to think about so many different global objects. But all right, so that should fix that. Let's get back in game here. Ooh, and I want to get rid of that breakpoint because the breakpoint will screw up our sync because it will pause the game so long that it'll just declare that sync has been lost. So that was in spawn manager, kill my breakpoint. All right. Let's use the matchmaker, even though it's broken. It's broken not a way that matters to us right now. And we'll just see if the camera gets set up right. Hey, there we go. And this one has a working camera. There we go. Beautiful. Just a dumb programming mistake. Okay, so now the real thing that we wanted to test was, can we blow up the other tank and not have everything just go terribly wrong? Almost! So I don't know if you saw that. It was destroyed on one client, but not the other client. And I hit it again. Oh man, look at that! It like dies and comes back to life. That's cool. I mean, you know, wrong, but can I just keep doing it? Okay, something about death. Death is broken. I'm actually going to take this moment to commit these changes, because we've been doing some good work here, guys. We are part of the way through getting tanks spawning and despawning correctly. I'm also going to transfer this matchmaker not working to our to-do file here, because I don't know if we'll actually get to that in this stream. So I'll just put it down here. Matchmaker not listing all players. That's probably due to a change that I made over the past week where I added a ping timer in the beginning, and probably something about me adding that ping timer to the UI broke the UI when you're in matchmaker mode. All right, so let's commit this. Got tanks part of the way through spawning, despawning. And push that. All right. So, what could be causing our tank to be destroyed and then come back, but only on one client? I bet it's something in the code for the match, because the match in the old network synchronization technique passed all these RPCs back and forth to coordinate what should happen, and the fact is we don't need to do that. We can just count ticks on both sides, and assuming everything is deterministic, which currently it isn't, whatever. We'll get to the determinism problem. It should work. So let's check out Battle Royale. I'm going to go in Battle Royale Manager and look for all of its RPCs. So show winner is an RPC. The synchronized RPC, I think we still need to do the synchronized RPC. I think we may still need to do the RPC for game start. Not 100% sure about that, actually. Let's look at practice mode and see how it starts a match, because practice mode is implemented completely separate from all of the normal stuff in a match. It doesn't use match managers to do game modes. It's just really simple, really straightforward. So we call game setup and we call game start. What calls restart game? That happens in ready. Let's just quick look at game start. Of course not. Of course I didn't assign a type to it. All right, let's go to here, game start. Game stop, game start. So we need to have this happen at the same time. I think this is actually right. I think we still want to do this with an RPC, because this is what starts the sync manager. Okay, I think we still want to keep that RPC. We'll find out later if we were wrong about that when things break terribly. But let's go back to Battle Royale Manager. So I think we still want to keep this RPC. This show winner RPC needs to go. Or maybe not in the future. Right now it needs to go, or at least be dramatically changed, because yeah, like look at this. We have these create timers for 2 seconds. We can't create a 2-second timer. We have to count ticks instead. So how are we going to do this? Let's, for now, just because it will be interesting and entertaining, let both clients decide who the winner is on their own. That's probably a bad idea. We probably should still have the host be the one who's responsible for definitive counting of points, but we would want them to communicate that to the other hosts in a very different way. But for now, we're just not going to do that. We're going to say we're not going to check if is network server. We're just going to have all clients do this themselves independently. We may have to look for more stuff in here. Oh no, because Battle Royale is super simple, so it's not really even keeping score outside of the end of a round. Okay, so we shouldn't, but actually, let me just check. We'll say is network. Okay, so yeah, in the yeah, is network server, is network master. Okay, so I guess that was the only instance we need to worry about for the moment. Then we will directly call show winner with all of the same stuff, rather than doing it with an RPC. And then here, we need to have special timers. How are we going to do these timers? Unlike in the old method where we could just dynamically create a timer and use it for just a one-off thing, we actually can't do that, or at least can't easily do that with the new method, because creating and destroying things, as we have seen, is problematic with all the rollbacks. So what we would want to do actually is have some persistent timers that we can use. Can we yield on them? Will that still work? I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure we can yield on them. We might have to like totally restructure this. I'm going to take the gamble that we can't yield on them, because yielding is basically saying wait till the signal's fired, but the signal could be fired by simply reloading the state to the time when the signal was supposed to fire. But this coroutine would already have resolved until we got here again, at which point, yeah, we're not going to mess with that. We're not going to use yields. We're dropping the yields just for simplicity. My brain is getting twisted up in the coroutine stuff already. So what we're going to do is the Battle Royale Match Manager is actually a scene. So we're going to open up the scene, and we're going to throw some network timers, which were a special timer that we made for doing rollback, onto that scene. That would be under mods, core, modes. You may have noticed there is a mods folder. That is because technically the game is moddable. I just have no documentation on how to mod it, but you can absolutely make a mod and have the game pick it up. And I basically have it set up so that like the core content is in a special core mod, which is basically my way of testing the modding system. Anyway, so we want to go to Battle Royale, the Battle Royale Manager scene. It's got nothing on it. Well, that's about to change because we want some network timers. Make 2 of them. I hate the context-dependent duplicate. All right, so we have 2 timers. One timer is basically going to be the we'll call it a like show score timer, and then the other is a restart round timer, or next round timer. We'll call it that, next round timer. And they were set for 2 seconds, which is approximately 120 ticks. So that's what we'll set the new ones for. They are going to both be one-shot timers. One shot. And yeah, we're going to fire them even without complete input because I don't really know the implications of that yet. And we're going to set up we're going to connect some methods to their signals, their timeout signals. And we're going to basically like take some of the code in here and move it into each of these places. So here, rather than doing this create timer timeout thing, we are going to start the show score timer. I guess we need to grab variables for those. Let's do some onReady var show score timer. Show score timer. And next round timer. Ooh, they're the same length in characters. That always makes me happy for some reason. That's like the sort of OCD-ness of developers. 2 things that are equivalent, they have the same number of characters. Yeah, that's living right there. Okay, show score timer start. And then we're going to get rid of this, pull the rest of this code down here. We're just going to take this code on a little trip through each of these timers signal handlers here. All right, and then this, ooh, how are we going to deal with the state that this thing has? Oh, this is actually kind of cool. So before we were passing the score to show winner, but we actually don't need to because now all players are keeping track of the score. So we can get rid of that. What about the isMatch variable? IsMatch is if here. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we don't need to calculate isMatch and send it to everyone. We can just calculate it when we need it. So that can go above isMatch. And so all we need to do is, I mean, technically we don't even need to say who the winner is because we should also know that too. How did we get the winner though? I think I deleted one too many things. What did I delete that I needed here? Winner ID, winner ID. What are you saying? Too few arguments. Oh, it's just because I haven't gotten rid of the arguments. Okay. Let's kill those arguments. Okay. So, show winner. All right, so we actually kind of do care if it is the match because it changes the message we show. But whatever, we can. Do we want to have like a variable? We can just have a global variable for this. Round over, say var match over. It starts out as false. We will set it up here. So match over, bam. And then I guess we don't need, all right, well, let's just keep moving. So match over, the winner ID, I guess we only keep the winner ID here, so that's fine to pass as an argument. And I guess we'll change it to the name again, like an old thing that we don't necessarily need anymore, but it's fine, we'll leave it. IsMatch becomes match over. We start our score timer. We're now here where we have the score because we just have it. Before we were calling to dict on it up here. See that? So we're going to do the same thing here. So the data stays the same. And rather than this yield, we're going to start our second timer. Next round timer start. We're going to delete this and we're going to shuffle this code into the callback for our second timer, which again is match has to become match over. IsNetworkServer is no longer a thing. We are just going to always start a new round. Start a new round on both sides. We should be good. Oh, unless start a new round does a synchronized operation. Okay, it does. It does do a synchronized operation. Okay, so we probably don't need to do a synchronized operation for restarting, but we're gonna, because it means changing less things. We just want to get this playable. That's our primary goal today. Get the game playable. And then we can see how terrible the rubber banding is. I'm so scared. I'm so very scared to see how terrible the rubber banding is. Oops. Let's move that down here. Okay. Here comes our match. Let's start. Can I destroy the tank and start back over? The question of the day. Ah, it still respawned it. That's crazy. So it still respawned it. I win the round. Nothing started over. What happened there? Okay, so we have our timers. They should just work. They're in the right group. No? They're not in the right group? Or, okay, yeah, we probably don't see the group in the scene tree because it probably adds it in ready. Yeah, so in ready it adds it to the right group. We would see it in the right group if we went over here. Where's the, oh, here's the match manager, and looked at the timers. What? I don't know why it doesn't show us the groups. Does it just not show groups in the remote scene tree view? Let me go to something that I know for a fact has a group, like the tank. No, maybe it just doesn't show groups. Okay, well that wasn't helpful. But why isn't it working? Ticks left 0. It's one shot, so probably it ran down, fired it. Maybe we need a thing where if you load a timer back that's running and has the wait tick set to 0, it refires the signal. I'm surprised we hadn't tested that earlier though. Like, shouldn't that have also broken all of our other timers? Like, shooting, you would think wouldn't even work if that was the case. I kind of want to just see, like, let's set some breakpoints. I guess we'll start with, so it did show winner on both of them. So we know we got to that point. And is this one the host? I guess I don't know. I didn't pay enough attention in the beginning. But one of them appears to, or no, this one's just in this state because that was the player that lost, so the camera switched back out. Okay. I'm just trying to think through. Oh, that's interesting. Unable to restore state. It shouldn't be unable to restore the state. Like, our respawn manager should have handled this, our spawn manager. So that's interesting. That's another fun bug. Or is this not related to despawn? Is this just the tank disappears when we're not expecting it to disappear? I don't know. That's another thing to debug. I'll add a note. Get rid of that one because it's already in our to-do. So unable to restore state when player leaves match. When player leaves match, disconnects. I'll hopefully understand what that means later. Okay. So let's set some breakpoints in the Battle Royale manager. We are pretty sure that we are getting here because the message is being displayed. And then show score, timer, timeout would then show the round screen, which we are not getting to. And I guess the question is why? Show winner should be re-executed every time the player dead signal happens, which should be re-executed during our rollbacks. I guess, hang on. Before we do the breakpoints, let's do just a simpler test, more of a straight up smoke test. Like, let's go to Sync Manager and disable our debug rollbacks. So rather than rolling back 5 frames every time, we're just going to let it roll back as needed, and we'll see if it works then, because then we know it's a problem with restoring state versus a more fundamental problem. That was weird. That took so long to load. What the heck? All right. Shouldn't be stressing out my computer that much. My load is 3.17 and I've got 8 cores, so one would think that that is a very low load. Okay, let's go see if this works without our crazy debug rollbacks. Okay, in the round screen, and we restarted. All right, so we know generally where the problem is. It's in restoring state because something is not restoring. I bet it's the thing that I said earlier, that the timers are not going off when they're being restored to a state that should fire them. Which is interesting because we don't want to fire them as soon as the state is loaded, because like everything else might not be ready for them yet, right? We want to restore all of the state for all of the objects that need state restored, and then trigger whatever needs to be triggered based on that. So maybe we need a thing where we're like decrementing our counter, or checking our counter, emitting the thing, and then decrementing our counter rather than the other way around, so that we can ensure that like the frame that gets processed immediately after restoring state would again trigger the timer. And we just have to be careful that we aren't making it so that the timer gets triggered a frame earlier or a frame later when it's restoring the state versus when it's executing normally. How long has it been? It's been an hour and a half. My coffee is so cold, but I'm still going to drink it. All right, let's go check out our network sync timers here. So, network process. We say if ticks left is less than or equal to 0, we set it to running false. Yeah, so here's what I bet is happening. We're reloading the state, it's coming here, and then it's just setting the timer to false without executing the timeout. And so what we need to do is we need to have this ticks less than or equal to 0 trigger all of the things. So we need to move this code over here. And this doesn't need to be a return. This can be an else. Okay, so I think this does technically mean that the timer goes off a frame later, but so long as it always goes off a frame later, regardless of you know, whether it's being triggered from a state reload versus like happening normally, it's fine. Like it just needs to be consistent. It doesn't need to be exactly the number of frames we give it. And if that ends up being like a problem, we could, you know, theoretically, whenever we start the timer, start it with ticks -1. But I don't know if that's a thing yet. So let's just try it, see what happens. Oh, and I got to restore that debug thing where we're rolling back 5 frames, because I don't think I did. Yep, okay. Debug, rollback debug ticks 5. Let's kick this thing off. All right, so let's go destroy a tank. Blow it up. That's interesting. So it still didn't work, but it did it different. Rather than just destroying and then respawning the tank on one of the clients, it did that weird ass thing where it respawned the tank on both. So we're using a network timer for the shooting timeout. So like the network timers are working more or less, right? Why are they like failing to work in this case? It's so weird. Back to the drawing board though, like what? I guess, okay, breakpoints. We're gonna be doing some breakpoints. I need to quick take a bathroom break though. Drinking this cold coffee, this is a bad idea. Should have stopped drinking the coffee when it got cold. Here, let me just, I'll put up a little I'll be right back screen. I'll be back in like 30 seconds, guys. Sorry about that. The game is kept running and generating synchronization issues here for us. That's I'm assuming related to the determinism problem, which we will be addressing. In a week or two, probably depends on how quickly we get the rest of this stuff going. So, I am thinking that perhaps we should test the game anyway. There's a problem here, and it needs to be solved. But I think the fundamental question is, how bad is the rubber banding, right? And I think we can answer that, even if the matches don't start correctly. I think we can just try this. Let me go to the sync manager, disable our debug stuff, although I want to commit everything we have before I do that. Hang on, let's see, what have we done? We've done a bunch of things here that are not fully working, so attempting to convert the Battle Royale manager unfinished. And I'm going to commit that, and then I'm going to do a separate commit that just does the debug ticks thing, because then I can very easily roll that back later. Rollback debug ticks. And I'm going to push this, and we are going to test it. This is going to kick off a build on GitLab CI, which, of course, if you want to set up something similar for your game, I have a tutorial series about how to set up GitLab CI for a Godot game. This is, of course, using a cut-down version of everything right now, because we're just doing a web build and then setting up this web review link thing. But this build, when it finishes, and it shouldn't take long, like a minute and 30 seconds, something like that, we will end up with something under deployments, environments, and we'll have a link here that I'll be able to send to the chat, and people will be able to go to that link, log in, and we can play. Something that I've been noticing since I've started using this sort of hack to get these things to appear in the environments here is that however these files are hosted is really slow, really slow, slower than GitLab Pages is normally, which is a little bit slow, but reliable. This is unreliable. So what I've had to do when opening things here is I'll load it, and it'll run for a little while and then stop, and then I reload the page and just keep reloading the page until it works, which sucks. I'll have to come up with a better method to do this for next time. But yeah, let's go see how we're doing on our CI build here. Running, so we've made the web build, and it's just making our review link. Time to drink more cold coffee. Come on. Pipeline editor? Oh, that's cool. Apparently, you can edit the .gitlab CI file through the web and make changes. That's cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. It's test cases. With test cases, you can define conditions for your project to meet in determining quality. GitLab adds so many features so fast that I just cannot keep up with it in any sort of remote way. I've been using it for, I think, 4 or 5 years, and it just keeps getting astronomically better month to month. It's crazy. Okay, cool. So it did this. Let's go to deployments, environments. Get this link. Yep, disable rollbacks. That's the right thing, but no, wrong thing. Huh? So it just crashed? Didn't even get there? Come on. Is this the right job, though? I feel like I might have moved too quickly here. So it's 5605 it ends in. Nope, this is not it. Okay. Launch you. 5605. And it got stuck. Nope, it made it. Okay, cool. I'm going to give you guys this link in chat. This is a link to the build we just made. It may be janky. You might need to hit reload a bunch of times. I highly recommend using Chrome as opposed to other browsers. And let me get a match ID, which, God willing, I'll be able to paste. Yes! Paste! Pasted! Okay. So, go to that link, log in, join a private match, come in here, and we will see how this goes. What can I show you guys while we're waiting for people to get in? I don't know. I don't know at all. I guess I can talk about the plan for dealing with the determinism problem. So the determinism problem is basically that Godot's physics engine is not deterministic. So when we roll back, inject the new inputs, and then roll forward, different things can happen in very subtle ways, like really subtle. Like a number could be 0.0001 different than it was the last time, but that kind of breaks this whole networking model. So my plan, and I haven't gotten there yet, but the thing I'm thinking about currently is implementing some custom physics in C++ in a custom module for Godot. There might be easier ways to do this. I couldn't find, like, there are like network deterministic engines, and I just couldn't find one that I liked, and our needs are so simple. Like, we just need to do simple collision checks, not even like physics, not even real physics. And so, hey Ross, sweet. I like that we have a decent network ping here. The 60s, the 80s, that's not bad. And Andy K, cool. I think that's enough. Ooh, and Andy K's got a nice higher ping going there. All right, this will be a good mix of tests. I'm just gonna go for it. Let's do it. All right, we only worked on Battle Royale, so that's all we're going to do. Please don't crash, please don't crash, please don't crash. Oh, sweet, and I can actually get up to see some people here. I mean, it's moderately playable. I want to see you guys drive around more. Ross, I'm not seeing any rubber banding on your movement. Andy K, I am seeing a little bit of rubber banding, but I can't tell so much because the screen is shaking. Hang on, let me try and... Oh, synchronization lost! But I still won? Synchronization can be lost and I can win anyway! Oh, let's try that again, guys. Let's give that a try again. That was surprisingly good. Rubber banding wise. The synchronization getting lost kind of sucks. Ooh, you actually crashed? Wow. So Ross, you just saw sync lost, but Andy K, you saw like a crash, like the browser went to unhappy face, or like the game just completely froze or something. Please describe your crash in more detail. Because if it was like a hard crash, like the browser froze or something along those lines, then I'm less worried about it. That's probably just a bug in the code. Whereas if sync was straight up lost, like that's more worrying because that means like the code was operating correctly, but we still lost sync. Ooh, and I'm going to try to turn off my screen shake. Screen shake disabled. Okay. Guys! The rubber banding is 100% acceptable. Holy cow. This is... Ross wins, and we probably won't leave the screen. As expected. Yeah, something's wrong with the timers and the way that we're doing this. But wow, guys, let's do one more. Let's do one more because like I am astonished here. Ooh, and we're still in the match. Okay. Yeah, we could just jump into another one. All right. Or maybe let me do a different map. Let's just start out close together. So Andy K is not wobbling around like crazy like he was on that previous stream. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Well, that went pretty wrong pretty fast. What did that look like on your guys' end? Okay, so Andy K, when you're saying lost connection, does that mean like synchronization was lost, or do you mean like you actually like lost internet for a second, like a lost internet connection kind of thing? If it was just sync lost, like I guess that does point at some kind of fundamental problem in okay, it went back to the main menu, or you're back to the main menu right now. Yeah, so what I saw and what you guys will see on the stream whenever the delay ends is that I started seeing like a ton of rubber banding from Ross and then synchronization lost. But man, that's interesting. Hang on, do I have the network overlay enabled? No, I don't, because that's only in debug mode or something. No, let me. Okay, it was sync lost. Okay. So that's the less good outcome, but I guess we know where to look. Let me. I am going to turn on developer tools, which should show me. Did it lock up? Why can I not mess with this window? Okay. There we go. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to clear this. Let's try another match, guys. Let's try another match. I'm going to watch developer tools, and I'm going to attempt to enable the debug overlay, which I think should be enabled by pressing, I think it's F11. And I'm going to try and see if I can see what is causing the sync lost. If it's an input frame being retired too early. Yeah, so when connection was lost, it sent me back to the main menu. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, Andy K saying, I hope that's not that bad. But I mean, we're expecting problems, right? Like, we've been working on this for just a couple of weeks, and bugs being in here is, you know, expected. All right, so I'm going to watch the debug console. I'm going to try to turn on the debug overlay once we get in. Oh, sweet. So the debug overlay is there. It's doing a lot of mismatch, state mismatch. Oh, the debug overlay makes it so I can't shoot. Well, whatever. You guys shoot me. Or don't. But I'm going to keep watching the debug overlay. Wow. When I have the debug overlay, too, there's insane amounts of rubber banding. Or maybe it's because I have the console open. Interesting. Let's see if we can keep playing till synchronization is lost. It's a lot easier to see the rubber banding, actually, in this higher up view. I'm watching Andy K get some decent rubber banding. I mean, not unacceptable, though. Like, the rubber banding that I'm seeing from him is not any worse than, like, the network artifacts of the old technique. You know what I mean? Ooh, and we actually... Oh, did it restart us? Hey, did you guys restart? Let me go see if your tanks are driving. So Andy K is driving. Wow, am I hearing some crazy audio going on? Is Ross still here? I want to see us lose synchronization. Oh, we lost synchronization. Hey. Okay, cool. How can I stop doing things? Stop doing things so I can capture this log. Predicted input, received input. So we're getting info. Okay. Oh, where's synchronization lost? I need to see the output when synchronization was lost. What the heck? Yeah. I apparently coded something in that when in doubt, dystopic wins. That was not on purpose. But I just want to see, I want to see the message that happened when sync was lost. This is seriously a downside of doing the web version, because it's harder to get these messages. Like, just, it's still like gathering up messages here when we're like clearly not playing anymore. Like, nothing should be coming through at this point. Let me like fully exit out of here. Like, nothing should be, the sync manager at this point should be doing nothing. We're completely disconnected. Yet I'm still getting like message after message after message from like about predicting input and like all this stuff. Or actually, is it the same messages? These tick numbers are pretty low. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on here. Andy won on his screen. Yeah, there we go. That's that's the yeah, disadvantage of, we changed it so that every player is scoring, every client is doing its own scoring, which if everything was deterministic, would give the same result on every client, but it's not deterministic presently because we haven't solved the determinism problem yet, because that basically requires us making our own like mini physics engine or a mini collision engine. I just want to, what I'm worried about right now is the rubber banding artifacts and losing synchronization. So Ross actually saw NDK win. Yeah, interesting. And this is not giving me any feedback on why synchronization was lost. Like we're retaining like an insane number of frames of state, 60 frames of state, which should be more than enough to accommodate the amount of lag latency that we were having. So I guess I don't remember exactly, but I saw Andy K had like I don't know, like 180 milliseconds RTT, which is 90 milliseconds of latency, right? And we are retaining 60 frames of 60 frames a second at 60 FPS. So that should be 1 second worth of frames retained. Like, how can we go out of sync? And if we look at 90 divided by 16, that's just 6 frames. We shouldn't lose synchronization with 6 frames of latency, and we have 60 buffered frames. Like, that's just crazy. Something is going wrong here. That's very fundamental, and I don't know what it is yet. And I guess the good thing is that this is pretty much reproducible locally when I set up artificial latency. So I should be able to track it down even without doing like real-world tests. Real-world tests are, of course, the most fun. But yeah, I was like setting up 100 milliseconds of latency and losing synchronization. And there's multiple reasons you can lose synchronization. There's retiring input frames that don't have enough input on them, but like that kind of shouldn't happen anymore, or at least I don't think it should. I made a change the other day to try and address that problem. It's where we're retiring input frames. Let me find that code. That would be wherever is the place that we are storing input frames. So where is that? So we receive an input tick remotely, and we do get or create input frame. All right, that is the place. So we get or create an input frame, and I changed it so that it doesn't retire, it doesn't keep exactly 60 frames of input. It keeps 60 frames of input that exist before our current tick. Which I guess we still can lose synchronization, but like it would have to mean that we like literally were 60 frames behind. Like, how is that a thing? I don't know. I need to like put more logging or something to try and get to the bottom of this. We should not lose synchronization. But yeah, this is one of the times. Retire to incomplete input frame. There's another condition. Handle fatal error. So not enough state in buffer to roll back. This, there isn't really any protection for. If someone sends us an input frame from long enough ago that we can't roll back to that frame anymore, then we lose synchronization. And that again would have to mean that we're receiving frames, input frames from 60 frames ago. And that just, I don't know, that's like mind-boggling. Andy K says, rubber banding was not bad on my screen considering transcontinental lag, but movement was a little wobbly. That's interesting, because movement is all done locally. So you're talking about your movement was a little wobbly? That might just be, I re-implemented the code for the modern control scheme, which is done a little bit differently than it was in the past, because before I was having it kind of split where it was handling the modern control scheme. Part of it was when it was gathering input, and part of it was when it was applying the input. And it was kind of nice to be doing part of it when we were applying input, because I could snap to particular angles, and I had to like move the snapping earlier, which was a little more awkward to code, and then turned out to like move a little bit differently. But anyway, I guess let me know if you're talking about your movement was a little wobbly, but the rubber banding, yeah. Andy K says, on your stream is the opposite. You've not seen any wobble, but rubber banding was worse. My movement was wobbly. You're saying it's like my player's movement was wobbling? That's interesting. So my movement should only be affected by rubber banding from your perspective, I think. You know, the next time we're doing a playtest, we need to do where everyone's recording their screens. Which, you know, I guess theoretically we shouldn't need to have to do, because of, you know, this should all be deterministic or whatever. But that would be super useful at this stage, when we're still at this real slushy stage where things are kind of like half working, to be able to properly assess like what's going on, to say like, I'm seeing this, you're seeing that, what are some theories for why that could be different. Yeah, so there's only two ways we can lose synchronization: not enough state in the buffer, or retiring an input frame, requested input frame not in buffer. This should not happen, I think. I think this should not happen. If the input buffer size is 0, okay, cool, we always create. If the last tick in the buffer is less than the tick we are trying to get, then we get this. But if the input frame tick is higher than the last tick we have in the buffer. Okay, so this would be requesting an input frame that hasn't happened yet? I don't know how this could happen, honestly. I would love to see if this was the error we were getting. But yeah, I guess there's a third case of where we can lose synchronization, and it's this thing. I'm very confused how that could happen. But yeah, because I can't get any output from the logging to see if this is the message being generated. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to disable the all of the crap that's printing to the console, so that it's not like, you know, spitting out a million things, and do another build, and then we can test again, and we can try and see what is causing us to lose synchronization. I think that's a productive thing we can do with us all playing, you know, transcontinentally, and make some headway in these final minutes that we have. So one quick way to get rid of all of the debugging is a lot of that comes from this sync debugger, which I'm just going to delete. It's gone. And then these handle fatal error, or hang on, will it still debug a fatal error without the sync debugger? It emits, it pushes an error. Okay, yeah, I should still see this sync, network sync lost, no matter what, even with the debugger turned off. Let's just test this really quick, make sure that it works, make sure that it's not spitting out a lot of stuff. Oh, and I can turn off the thing that's sending state back. Hang on, it's another thing I should turn off. No, out of my way. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to start you. Log state, turn that to false. So we will no longer be sending state to the host for validation. That doesn't even really matter right now because we are not yet addressing the determinism problem. So now let's test it. Let's try this. Let's see how this works. I'll make another build. We will try it, and that will hopefully give me like some really sweet intel to continue making this better over the week. All right, so what I care about is I'm driving all around, I'm doing things, and I am not generating messages. I'm still generating messages. Okay, so this looks like the spawn manager has some stuff baked in. Let's find you spawn manager. Spawn manager. Yeah, I was debugging the spawn manager the other day when I was working on the physics thing, the patch in Godot to allow us to iterate physics manually. And I re-enabled all these print statements, which I do kind of want to keep there because whenever I have some issue with the spawn manager, like those are the things. What I need is a logging system so I can always be logging but like disabled or something. Although that's not necessarily the best either, because in like production you don't want to be filling up some array or making, you know, senseless method calls. Anyway, let's drive around. Let's do some more stuff and see if we're generating any more messages. Spawning an explosion. Okay, that was a temporary debug message that we shouldn't need. Where did I even do that? Let me see. Rep spawning an explosion. That is in base bullet. That was from last stream when we were trying to figure out why the bullet explosions weren't spawning. Here we go. This can go forever. I won't ever need that debug statement again. And let's see what we got now. All right, cool. It's not writing any new messages. So I think we're good. Let me build this. I can't be a server. I just like that error message for some reason. All right, get diff. We'll say disable debugging messages so log isn't so full. We'll push that. That will what? Okay, so this is the one we were playing before. All right, so that will go to GitLab CI. GitLab CI will build it. All right. Yeah, so I guess I hope oh, hey, yeah, Andy K, if you don't mind recording your screen when you're playing and then like send me the video through Discord, whether that's a link or the actual file, like that would be awesome. That would be really cool. So I can compare, you know, the recorded stream and what you got, and yeah, that'd be sweet. So we'll wait for this to build. While it's building, I guess I'll talk a little bit more about my plans for the physics. So I have this book, Game Physics Cookbook, which I actually bought like 8 months ago or so when I was working on the fish game tutorial for Heroic Labs, and I had like one rigid body in the game where you would throw like your sword or throw your gun, and it was synchronizing it. Ooh, Andy's got to go. Ah, okay. Well, thanks for coming. Definitely come to the next one. Look forward to seeing you around. Maybe, hopefully Ross is still around to do a quick test at the end. We'll see if we can lose synchronization when we're only 80, 90 milliseconds. Anyway, I don't know game physics that great. I implemented some collision manually in C++ back in the 90s when I was making games with just like no engine, just writing C++ code. But yeah, so I've got this cookbook, which I'm going to draw on to do like some really simple collision. I think that's probably the way that I'm going to go. I'm also kind of looking at the way that there's a box 2D here we go, deployed a box 2D module for Godot where they are integrating that physics engine. I'm going to kind of look at the way that they did the integration and hopefully be able to put together something simple that works well enough and consistently enough that we can solve the determinism problem. Armonlex. I don't know how to pronounce your screen name. Yeah, so is that the tool that you use, Ross? Clumsy? I've done some playtesting of Ross's game with him, and maybe we actually even used it when we were playtesting one of mine where you're using that. Because I run on Linux, I use just like this kernel feature to, am I on the right thing? Disable debugging. 4239. 4239. All right, here, I'll send you guys this link. Let's do one last test. Hopefully it will tell me why we are losing synchronization. I will get a match ID. Join me, one or all, but really just one would be sufficient. I'm sure we will be able to lose synchronization before too long. Oh yeah, Ross, it was clumsy that that you were using when we were doing that. Cool. Yeah, I mean that seems like a really cool tool. I will at some point probably be doing some Windows tests because I do like to do that when I'm releasing something new, like test on all the different platforms and mess with it a bunch, rather than just like always doing, you know, my intense testing only ever on Linux. And yeah, I'll check that out for when I'm doing some Windows stuff. Can someone get in here? It would be super sweet. Remember, like I said, this is sometimes janky and you might need to reload. Okay, Ross is in. Sweet, let's do it. All right, ooh, let me bring up the developer tools. Ah, they're too big. Developer tools are too big. Okay. Why aren't you letting me move? Okay, now I can move. That's interesting, like the message that it's giving right now. I'll have to go read what that means, but it looks like some kind of buffer underrun. Ooh, you got Tracer? I'm glad to know that Tracer still more or less works. The Tracer bullets. We are not losing synchronization. Let's see, whoa, that one of those Tracers was like way off. That's cool. I like watching the Tracer bullets and see how they do. Ross wins, but I'm still here! But Ross is not respawning! What? Okay, let's exit. We'll try this again. Strangely, like, when we did Maze that one time, it seemed to, like, time out right away. Are we just not going to lose synchronization? The rubber banding, though, like, I 100% do not notice it. Well, okay, I just saw it a little bit there. Maybe not 100%. Oh, I just saw a bunch of rubber banding there. I wonder, like, if I win the round, will it do it right? Will it do it right? Hey! Seem to actually, like, redo us there, so yeah, I do have to solve that problem with the timers. Crashing into things is a great way to introduce some non-deterministic behavior. So thank you for introducing that non-deterministic behavior there, Ross, crashing into some walls. But no, for the most part, like, the rubber banding is totally acceptable at our latency, even with whatever bug is causing us to get out of sync when we shouldn't. Ah, there we go. We just introduced a ton of non-determinism right there where we were crashing into each other. It's interesting too, the way the sound gets cut off. Dealing with sound in this is going to be interesting when I get to it. Okay. Woogosh. Hey! So guys, it is noon, the time when we usually end the stream. This was a pretty productive stream. We got to a point where it was some definition of playable, so that is cool. We encountered a couple of problems that need to be solved. Whatever's going on with those timers. I think the real important thing, the thing that I'm going to try to focus most of my time on, though, is how are we losing synchronization when the latency to Andy K should have been acceptable? You know, I'm going to do a whole ton of research on that. Maybe introducing some new metrics, new telemetry, new logging, whatever, to try and figure it out. Because if that's just a bug, if there's just some bug somewhere that is causing this problem and we can fix it, like, I think that this should work pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to focus on solving this problem. If you want to hang out in Discord, you know, I post what I'm working on, how things are going in there, and sometimes, you know, throw together impromptu playtesting sessions to try and test things out. So come join the Discord. There should be a link down here about that. Otherwise, I'll see you next week, where we hopefully will be a little further along and finally be able to make the determination, like, can this this network sync technique be used in Retro Tank Party or not? That's the big question. So thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Catch you next time.